This presentation is about problem-solving project of Chapter 3 by Group 10. Student field project in business and management can be based either on the empirical cycle aimed at developing descriptive or explanatory knowledge, or on the problem-solving cycle aimed at developing solutions for a field problem. We discussed the methodology for the second type of project, the problem-solving project. It is a design-oriented and theory-informed methodology. In this chapter, we discuss first the foundation of this methodology and the type of field problem for which this methodology is appropriate. Then we discuss the nature of the problem-solving project, its basic setup, and the various modes in which student project can be executed. We conclude by presenting the characteristics of professionally executed field problem-solving projects, which are quite different from projects that aim to produce descriptive and explanatory knowledge.
When it comes to rational problem solving, systematic inquiry into problem solving aimed at uncovering general principles, starting with the work of Herbert Simon, Alan Newell, and College in the 1950s. Their work strongly influenced research in cognitive science, artificial intelligence, management science, and economics. A related stream of research developed on organizational decision making, developed by Kipner and Chigger. And next, however, our design-oriented methodology differs from this traditional problem solving or decision-making approach into significant aspects. Firstly, it includes technical, political, and cultural interventions. Secondly, it eliminates the phase theorem, which consists many cognitive phases, and the problem-solving process is not organized in a clear sequence of distinct phases, but it in process steps, and there is no strict sequence of phase, but rather flexibility in scheduling work on the various process steps of the problem-solving process.
Coming to the next part, so we know that in spite of this significant difference between our design-oriented methodology to the management's problem-solving, we still regard our approach as the rational problem-solving one. So to understand that, the problem-solving strategies will focus mainly on two types, which is the first type is focused on content, and the second one is focused on the process. So we can make the distinction between the design approach, that is between these two approaches, which is design approach and development approach. So for the design approach, you can basically know that it is the redesign roles and routine and design one goal and subsequently realize in one goal. And so that basically you do everything before you actually you plan everything before you actually do it. And the second thing is development approach, is mean that you do it step by step. So the basic difference between the two is that with the design approach, you learning before doing, and with the development approach, you learning by doing. Come to the next part is the theory-informed field problem solving. So we know that the business problem solving can be informed by many sources of knowledge and inspiration. However, an important one is the scholarly literatures on. The first one is organizations, and the second one is on management, and the others on various business functions. But most scholarly literature, quantitative and qualitative alike, is descriptive rather than prescriptive or design-oriented. So where we make the difference between these two. Like descriptive literature tends to focus on analysis, the cause of phenomena, the causes of possible malfunctions or of less than satisfactory performance, but not on possible solutions. For solution design, you would also like to have prescription or solution-oriented knowledge in order to use such knowledge in a more direct and instrumental way. And we would like to know the application domain that these our methodology will be applied in. So our methodologies will be applied more successfully and effectively in those business problems with a significant technical economic component, while having limited political and cultural components. So the reasons for this, if the political and cultural components is much higher and more significant, other methodology will be much more preferred. And the second thing is that a very important dimensions is the availability of the data in this methodology to make it the most effective. So that's my part. We're coming to the next part.
Okay, so next we'll come to the nature of the field problem-solving projects. So the field problem-solving projects are used to improve the performance of a business systems, department, or organizations on one or more criteria. And with respect to the logic of their setup, we follow the problem-solving cycle of 5 basic process steps, including the problem definitions, the analysis and diagnosis, solution designs, interventions, in learning to perform, and finally learning and evaluating. From the perspective of the client organizations, however, a full problem-solving project has 3 process steps, each with different nature, and that includes the design step, the change step, and the learning step. And in the design step, a redesign of the business system or organizational unit is made based on the problem definitions, analysis, and diagnosis. And this is the step 1, 2, and 3 of the problem-solving cycle. And this is also the step that students usually are responsible for. And for this change step, that is step 4 of the cycle, the redesign is realized through the changes in the organizational roles and routines, plus the possible implementations of the new tools or information system. And the fifth and the final step is the learning step, which is also the 5th step of the problem-solving cycle. And the client organization in this step will learn to operate within the new system with the new instruments. And moreover, the organizations will need time to recover after a significant change in this step. And in the course of a problem-solving project, generally there are 3 designs that are produced by students. The first design is the project plan. That includes the design of the process, that is to produce the solution designs or the change plan designs, the actions to take and the actors involved, and also the design of the approach to the analysis and diagnosis of the problem. So in a nutshell, the project plan serves as a foundation for the whole problem-solving project, and is very handy for understanding the approach to design the solutions and the change plan. The next design is the solution design. That is the design of the solutions of the problem. An example of this includes designs such as a new work process, a new organizational structure, or new business systems. And and finally, the change plan is the design of the process. That is to realize the redesigned solutions. And generally speaking, that means the implementations of the solution designs, such as the actions to be taken, the timings, and the actors involved for the solution design. And for the side of the client organizations, they expect to see the following deliverables. The last 2 deliverables are the key ones that the client will consider. They are the elaboration of one of the potential solutions in the detailed solution design, plus a justification and change plan, and the more intangible deliverable relating to the organizational support for the solution and the change plan. And they are the main factor to drive the change in the learning process of the organizations.
Okay, so for the next part, we talk about the two problem-solving project, follow a problem-solving cycle as shown earlier. Now we will get into more detail about each of the steps. So now moving on, the first step is problem definition. This step drives the whole problem-solving project and is based on an agreement between the principal of the project and you, the student. In this step, alongside with defining the problem statement, it also includes designing the project plan and approach to the subsequent analysis, diagnosis, and design. And importantly, it must include a systematic review of the literature, which will serve as a foundation for upcoming steps. For the problem statement, the problem should be large enough to contribute significantly to the performance and small enough to be solved within the prevailing constraint and in time and effort. And the problem is not necessarily fixed for the duration of the project. Now the second step is the analysis and diagnosis step. This is the analytical part of the project, which produces specific knowledge on the context and nature of the problem. For this step, most of the traditional methods of business research, such as qualitative and quantitative research, can be used. And for the third step, we have the solution design. We will design the solution for the problem and the associated change plan. We can use knowledge from descriptive research, field tested, and credit design proposition, or solution concept developed by business research to support a design of the solution. One note from this step is that if the solution to the business problem involves the redesign and implementation of a work process or organizational structure, the redesign is followed by a second redesign during the change step. And the two final steps include intervention and evaluation and learning. In the intervention step, the role and work process are changed based on the solution design and change plan. This step requires many time, effort, and management attention from the client organization. And finally, the evaluation and learning steps are conducted to evaluate what still has to be done to realize the full potential of the new system and also used to learn for future projects. Okay, for the next part.
Finally, we come to the characteristic of a typically good field problem-solving project. The first characteristic is performance focus, where the actual performance improvement is the primary objective of the project, and that analysis and design are just means to that end. The second is design-oriented. The actions to solve the problem are guided by design for the solution, as opposed to trial and error problem-solving strategies or more development-oriented problem-solving strategies such as incrementalism or muddling through. And the third characteristic is theory-informed. Use valid, state-of-the-art knowledge for the analysis and design activities and aware of the quality of the knowledge to be used. Justified is to justify the proposed solution face-to-face with the client organization. And the last characteristic is client-centered. Deal respectfully with the client system consists of the principal, the problem owner, users of the proposed system, or people working in the redesigned problem system and other stakeholders. And that is it for chapter 3. Thank you for listening.